Hello and welcome to From Seed to Sky, Conversations on Roots, Resilience, and Rising. And today we're going to have a conversation with Shan Solie, who is a journeyer, a practitioner, a studier of the human condition and of the natural world. And they're always exploring and looking for new ways to expand within and around. They're a conduit and invite people they work with to explore alongside with them. And their website is shansolie.com. And I love Shan. I've known them for a long time. But one of the things that I'm excited about is we're collaborating on embodied retreat called Joy Lab, Embodying Delight. And so I just wanted to dive in a little bit more with you around joy and resilience and what that means and like the unique things that you bring to the world. So thanks for being here.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yay! So I like to start off with just like, what do you do for your own resilience? So what's one daily practice that you do that either like strengthens your roots or nurtures your resilience or helps you rise in the faces of challenges?
Yes. I have been deeply steeping into these rituals for the past 6 weeks. As you know, I have made a huge life move. And so that has like completely, literally uprooted me and just like thrown me out into the middle of the yard. And I'm just like, wait, what do I do? And so what I'm learning about what I do, there's one practice that was actually given to me by my mentor years ago when I made a different move. And she told me that every morning my job is to sit outside and listen to the birds and look at the trees, and that my job is to learn who the birds and the trees are in every place that I am. And
Hmm.
so that has been like from day one, it's been birds and trees, like the avocado tree that I can touch from my back porch, and the beautiful, wonderful birds that sing to me all day long have been a huge part of my resilience practice. And that is like my global resilience practice. I do that when I travel, when I just kind of like when I'm camping, anything. Um, and then personally, just like a ritual that I know helps me ground in on the shorter term is daily journaling and daily yoga practice that I just kind of do before anything else in the morning to just remind me I have feet and hands and that I am right here.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Nice, nice. I love that. And what bird? I'm a huge birder. I mean, I'm not good at birding, but I love birding.
Uh,
What new birds have you discovered and learned about?
this could be a whole podcast.
Totally good.
Lot on here. But my daily birds that we see and hear every single day, there are flocks and flocks and flocks of green parrots all over, and they are cacophonous. They are the loudest, craziest birds, and they just like fly around and scream all the time. And they sit in the trees and scream at each other. And I don't think they know how to be quiet. Like, I don't, I've never seen a green parrot not yelling. Um, so that is one of my good friends every morning. And then, there are great kitties that have a beautiful song. And so that's one of my like auditory connectors, and then lots and lots of mourning doves.
Oh, okay. So that's something from home.
Yeah, so they just sit, there's a wire outside our window, our bedroom window, and every morning we wake up and there's about 80 of them just right outside the window. It's the first thing we see every morning.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I just heard a chickadee as we were talking. So sweet. I love that. I love that practice. And I love like daily practices that we can do that are just like accessible. Like we don't need to
Mhm.
go pay for a yoga class. We don't need 3 hours in the morning to like do, we can do those things, but there's also these things where you can just go outside and like something that I like to do is just go outside and look at the moon. Like where is it in the sky? Can I see it? And like that takes less than a minute.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So how do you personally define resilience?
Oh, I think this has actually been shifting pretty heavily for me in the last couple of years. Um, I used to think of it as a very active process where it was like, I'm being resilient. I am the weed growing out of the concrete. And now I'm like, actually resilience is like, I'm chilling. Like the last 2 days, I've gotten done with client work and looked at my dog on the couch and been like, oh yeah. And we just like lay down and take a nap on the couch. Um, so like, and that has felt deeply resilient for me. Um, to
Mm,
just give myself allowance to let the things that are unpacked stay unpacked and let the, dishes in the sink stay there and just actually like listen to the calls of my body.
mm, yeah, yeah. I think there's something really powerful about just like that listening versus
Mhm.
kind of the like I've definitely been in that place of like having a resilience agenda.
Yeah.
Like I am this or I'm going to
Mhm.
do this for my resilience versus like it can be active, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be active.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Lots of quiet and a lot of active. Like I'm also running every day, which I haven't done in years,
Mm,
but it's a form of movement I can access here easily. And,
yeah.
double duty gets the dog moving.
And you get to see new parts of this new place that you're in. I
So,
love
yeah.
like getting out into the world and like what
And
is
I've
the
made
world?
friends. Like there's a guy at the park that like, we now like both see each other running and then like we like walked home together yesterday and had a conversation. And so just yeah, helps can make connections.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And then something that I know you've been exploring a lot is erotic joy or erotic embodiment or erotic energy. So what is resilience and eroticism? How do they go together?
Hmm. Um, let's see. I'm gonna speak kind of both personally and globally in this realm of our erotic energy is our part of our life flow energy. And folks hear the word eroticism and immediately think either like sex or fetish or but what erotic is the like deep interconnection to the root chakra and to that root energy. And when we have that root energy really flowing in us and around us and through us and with others, it's I mean, it is life-giving, right? It is the connection into the sensual, which is a connection into the senses. It opens all five of our senses and brings us into relationship sensually to everything around us. So food, friends, air, birds, sex, all of it.
Yeah, yeah. And do you see a difference between sensual and erotic? Like, how do you look at those in a different way, or do they feel related to me? But I'm curious for you, like, what do those two different things mean?
They feel connected in the erotic is the energy and the sensual's the embodied, right?
Mhm.
I mean, erotic is also embodied, but the senses are the ways that we actually engage, right? It's like we are having a sensual moment, and erotic energy is the energy, the flow, I mean, from the root eros, which is the Greek form of to show physical love. Um, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the way that I've learned around like senses is our doorway to like interaction, even with
mhm,
our own selves. Like
yeah,
even just the way that I touched my chest right there, like there's a there's a relationship that happened that wasn't happening a moment ago that I wouldn't have had without just the sense of touch.
exactly, right. And the ways that we can play with proprioception and all of it, right? Like so the erotic energy can even just be like, how am I noticing balance in this moment? And how
Mm,
am I out of balance in this moment, right? Which is part of how you notice the resilience and the flow of resilience.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what would you consider the opposite of resilience? Or like what's the first signs of like you're being pulled in like the I don't know what words you would use to describe it, burnout or fatigue or exhaustion or
Yeah. I mean, the first word that popped into my brain was block. Um,
Mhm.
just like for me, when I'm like I cannot get my energy flowing. And whether that is I feel fatigued and exhausted and like can't get my physical energy up or my existential energy up. Or, in the erotic, when I'm blocked and I'm like, I have no desire, I don't have libido, or like, my partner and I are fooling around and I'm like, I'm into it, but like I'm good.
Mm,
Like when I'm not actually flowing, I feel that is, so the word block is what came up for me when you said the opposite of resilience. And
mm,
it's also to me one of my big indicators. I mean, and I have lots of little indicators too. Like I've been super scattered and not getting stuff done and forgetting really important details. And the house, like if
uh-huh.
clutter is around me, I'm a Virgo. Like if clutter is around me, that's a really good sign that I'm off kilter.
Yeah.
Um, and the table I'm sitting at right now, I mean, granted, it's all art supplies because I have this grand scheme of getting creative, but
Hey.
I would call this a cluttered table I am sitting at right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But I think it's so important, or it can be so powerful to know those signs versus like, I think there's, for me at least, there's a continuum of like whatever the opposite of resilience is, of like feeling that blocked. And it could be just like maybe not getting enough sleep a couple days in a row, or where it's clutter, or it's feeling like sometimes for me it's like, oh, I should call that person, but when I have this narrative like I don't have time, like that's a sign that I'm moving in that direction, that I'm like maxing myself out, and my energy is just not being, I'm not listening, right? I'm just kind of going in that default thing. But to notice these external signs or internal signs that say, something's happening.
Yeah. Just this morning I woke up and I had stress dreams all night and I was like,
Mm.
why am I stressed? We spent the weekend staring at whales. We're gonna spend this weekend playing in a different ocean. What? How good is my life? And I'm having stress dreams. What is going on? And I, woke up and immediately just grabbed my partner and was like, we're just gonna cuddle for 5 more minutes because I need to just reset. I can't I'm not going into the day with a stress mentality. There's
Mm.
nothing to be stressed about today. Um and
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about it and they were like, oh, you're stressed about this thing that's happening in 3 weeks that you're not really wanting to be a part of. And I was like, yeah, word. It's true. Exactly what it is I'm trying to figure out how to say, no, thank you.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And like holding that too, like we can have this amazing life and then have these other things that feel taxing and difficult. And a lot of
Mhm.
times when I think about resilience, I don't think of it as like my life will be.
Um,
Right. Like we allowed to change our minds.
yeah, it's the resilience of consent. Maybe that's another one.
Totally. Oh, that would be such a good one. Because oh, it sounds like straightforward, but it's like so complicated and layered and and you already said that means you have to keep going. And how do you navigate that?
Yeah. Am I committed to something that's not a commitment? Yeah.
Consent
Is that our erotic energy may be flowing and then consent changes and it's like, oh, there's a block, but is there a block?
Mm.
One of the things that I really like to play with is like, how do you keep erotic energy flowing when there is a block? So, we have our own blocks all the time, all day long. And, we can still actually keep that flow running and move it along with and around and play with the blocks. And, in terms of consent, like with our own consent, our erotic energy does tell us a lot. It tells us our yeses, our nos, our like, oh, that's edgy. Like, oh, that's exciting edgy, or that's scary edgy, or that's oh no, we're not going there edgy. Like our erotic energy actually tells us all of that and helps us to learn to really listen and lean in.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And if you feel like you've been blocked from your erotic energy, how if from the variety of vast ways that people can be blocked from their erotic energy, how do you reconnect back to that source?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to take this moment for a selfish plug.
Do it.
Promotion moment. So one of the things that has been really helpful for me was that I had a mentor who was running a weekly um erotic energy practice, and it just like absolutely does not fit into my calendar anymore, and they changed the date and they changed the time, and I have just been really feeling that lack. So I decided, what if I just create that same offering at a time that works for me and see if it happens to work for other people too. So one of the things that, has been useful for me and that I am still engaging in for myself and offering to others is a weekly practice that um, it's an invitation. So it starts with a little practice, like a short mindfulness practice. Everybody's off screen and off microphone. And then there's a longer invitation practice that has music, and everybody's in their own space and place doing their own thing and exploring what feels important to them from that beginning meditation. And then there's an opportunity in the last few minutes if you want to come together and like post savor, say anything, but it's not a process. It's just a like offering and a space for you to be with your energy, and like while other people are also sending you energy. So it's a great practice. It's one I've really been missing for the last couple months while it's been um not working in my calendaring life. And um but I think, on a small, like on a just everyday scale, it's about connecting in to see where do you find desire? Um, so I moved to Costa Rica. It's a Spanish speaking country. The practice that I'm doing is named Angelo, which is Spanish for desire and longing. And so it's about like, how do you connect back into your desire? How do you listen for your longings? So like in a prompt I often will give to clients is like, what are you noticing that you're hungry for? Like what parts of your being are begging you to feed them?
Mm.
And what is that nourishment that is being called for? And so that would be a prompt or a question that I would put out
Mm.
as a daily practice.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds powerful. Yeah, and it makes me also think about like the like eroticism and pleasure and desire. And I think I know there can be like you said at the beginning, like eroticism and sex. Like those things are like this, but it's actually like what I'm hearing is eroticism is so much broader to like what is our like deepest longing, our deepest desires, what like nourishes us.
Mhm.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about the difference between like sex and eroticism and like pleasure or joy or longing as eroticism?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna just flip flop
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like eroticism is pleasure, joy, desire, longing. It is engagement, right? It is like engaging with our most open parts
Mm.
to whatever it is we're engaging with, right? People, places, things, it like self, it's about the connection, and it is a form of relating. And sex is one way that that can be expressed. It's an expression of, um, and many of us have probably experienced sex without eroticism and sex with eroticism. And when there's that like really great energy flow and exchange, it's a very different animal than if you're just like part A goes and part B go. Like, like touch, touch, kiss, kiss. Okay, we get it. Very, very different when eroticism is not in the mix. You know, also important. Don't get me wrong. I am a strong believer in maintenance sex, but it's it is a different beast when eroticism is really not flowing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, like thinking about like sex without eroticism is just like woo, like that's that was big for me. I was like, yes, that that makes sense. So it's not necessarily like eroticism and sex are not necessarily paired. They can be, but a lot of times they're not.
But, yeah.
And then I'm also hearing like in the what do you call this? What are you calling the your gathering? Your get
And hello.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So um is that can be like so I'm also thinking about people that have sexual trauma or like they've actually never experienced eroticism and sex for
Mhm.
traumatic reasons, conditioning, gender conditioning, all sorts of things. Um, what I'm hearing, and I'd love you to talk a little bit more about this, is like just entering like pleasure in other ways that can help you access eroticism in a safe way can also help to bridge that gap between eroticism and sex, either with yourself or with another person.
Yeah. Yes. Um, it's funny, you're like talking about it. I'm like, yes. um, yeah, what I was imagining there or like was a space and time where someone was talking about like we were doing a sensual place, and it was like bring anything that you want, that you like the texture of, the touch of. It can be anything you want, but just bring a bunch of textures and kind of play with like the sense of different textures. And at the end people were talking about like the different textures and things that like really like got them excited. And one person was like, my fuzzy sock. They were just like, I brought all these things, like all these sex toys and all these, like, I was like, okay, we're doing the thing. And like, and I was cold. It's cold in my house this morning and I'm wearing fuzzy socks. And I found that I was completely transfixed with my fuzzy socks. It was not about anything else. It was just like the pleasure of feeling these soft, fuzzy socks on my feet and then like touching them with my hands and like then my hands and my feet feeling warm and touched and cared for. And right, like it's such a way into sense and safe, playful, pleasure-based, joy-based touch. And I think food is another great entry point for a lot of folks. Like, I mean, this morning I was eating a mango that I like picked out of the yard and was eating for breakfast because my life is amazing. And and just like to be eating fresh, like such fresh, delicious mango was an erotic experience this morning. Um, like the whole world stopped and I was like, shh, but this mango, like I was like, hold on, we're moment.
Yeah, yeah. And that having the intention to take that pause, to
Mhm.
be with it, to be with that erotic joy and pleasure when something happens. Like I had a couple raspberries from my yard the other day, and my partner put them in my mouth and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But like
Mhm.
I so easily could have been like, "Tom, tom, tom, tom. Okay, moving on, do to the next thing." But
Mhm.
like to actually pause and take that presence with that thing that brings me joy or pleasure actually is a practice.
Yes, it is. Huh? Yes, the pause, um, often referred to in the somatic world as the savor, to
Mm,
take that moment to savor the
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Mm, it is, you know.
yeah. It's so easy to skip those things with our strong negativity bias brains.
Exactly. Like I have not figured out what it is. There's something that I don't know if it blooms in the morning or what, but like there's about 25 minutes in the morning. It's very specific where something just wafts through
Mm,
the windows and it's floral. It's almost gardenia-like, but I have yet to see a gardenia anywhere here. So I have no idea what the smell is that comes in. And I mean, it like it touches something ancestral. I have no idea. I am just like, it takes me to a place that is not of this body. It's amazing. And every morning it stops me in my tracks. You know,
mm,
I like have to stop and just be like, oh, I'm right here with this. And I don't know how often I have that experience, you know, and I've living in the Pacific Northwest for 20 years. Like I think I took a lot of that for granted. But the sea air, like there were days where that sea air would be thick and just smack me in the face, and I'd be like, oh yeah, okay.
mhm.
Just stop, be right here.
Yeah, yeah. The beauty of newness and
Mhm.
freshness. And like bring those things out because you haven't smelled that smell before. You have never seen that bird before. Whereas like I'm like, oh yeah, there's the crow that hangs out on the fence every day. But like we can also train ourselves to be like, there's the crow. Like there's my friend who lives here. This is like their territory and they visit my fence every day. Like the hummingbirds, I never get tired of being in awe of. But there's other creatures, there's other trees, there's other seasons that it's just like, yeah, the leaves
Mhm.
are falling. Yeah, the moon's over there now. And even if it's not new, it's always new because
Right.
you've never had that moment ever before and you'll never have it again. How do you want to
Exactly.
spend it?
Exactly. Yeah.
You also talked about like blocks and then like flowing with the blocks.
Mhm.
So a lot of times I think we can think people can think of resilience as like I'm either flowing or I'm blocked. But
Mm.
how do you work with them when they're happening at the same time? Because I think that's a like a nuanced approach to resilience that's really important because it's not either or. A lot of time it is both and.
Yeah, right. I mean, yes. Um, hmm. I feel like this is like my entire life right now. I have reflected to you and many other people in the past week that like, you know, I keep getting this like, oh my God, how are you question. And I'm like, overall good, day to day. I have no idea where I am. It's so disorienting. And so like that's part of it, right? Is like the flow is like partly I'm just doing the resilience practices. Like I'm doing my daily practices. I'm walking the dog. We found our park. We have our morning routine, right? Like I'm like, okay, the morning routine. That's a resilience practice that I've had for decades now. Um, and so a little bit of it is like me like falsely floating around the blocks, which the block is like I keep telling you this. It's the it's the Talking Head song. Uh, this is not my beautiful house. How did I get here? Is the block, right? Is like just this like I'm looking at these ugly leather couches that I'm just like these are not mine. I'm sitting big blocky furniture that I'm like, this is not mine. Like, right. And it is, they're blocks, like literal, they're giant dark blobs in this beautiful bright house that
Mm,
they feel like literal blocks.
mm,
And I am learning to live with them. I'm learning to flow with them. I'm learning to lay with the dog on the couch every day. And, I'm learning to, and within that, like, then there's the internal blocks of, um, I'm not fluent in Spanish. How do I have conversation? How do I meet people? I'm learning to be fluent in Spanish. And part of that is the block of my own fear, my own Virgo perfectionism that is like, oh, if I don't do it right, I'm not gonna do it. So, like, part of the resilience and the flow, and especially my own erotic energy of flow, is like, I need human connection every day. I can't just stare at a computer. I do need to look a real human being directly in the eyes every single day and smile and have a smile returned, and like, just some kind of interaction. That's part of how my energy stays in flow.
mm,
And so even though I have this block of like, I don't know how to do this, I have the energy of like, actually, human connection is universal. We
mm.
can, I can be in the car with the Uber driver and a song comes on and we're both humming along to it. And I know how to say, like, tu music es muy gusta. Like, I know how to, like, I know how to, like, muy bien, like, and then we can have this moment together. Or, when I see somebody walking their dog on the sidewalk and we both walk past, like, we both know how to say buenos dias and like smile at each other. And, like, it it is a way that the energy can flow around the block. Um,
Mhm.
and the block for me is very real. I have a very big perfectionist streak that is like, I'm not doing it right. I didn't say the sentence right. I don't know. I don't have that word, so I can't say anything. And then reminding myself, like, I can't let my life get that small. Like, I'm not thriving if I let myself get that small.
Mhm.
So minding my energy, like, you're the only one expecting you to be perfect. So, I don't know, maybe stop it and go try.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, what I'm hearing also is like the ability that like the blocks actually help us grow. Like they
Mhm,
can keep us small and protected and safe,
mhm,
or they can be like a challenge. Like, how do I flow with that? Because I want to connect and I have to learn how to say different words. Or like what you said earlier around like, ooh, that feels like edgy, but exciting. Like it might make me nervous to try something, but I
mhm,
want to. And so like there might be a block of like, oh, I'm a little nervous or trepidatious about this, but there's also that desire that's like with it, that's like, we can do this.
yeah.
Or like, let's see what happens. Like maybe I fail, or maybe I do make a mistake, or the person's like, I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, I've had a lot of that. Like, just like,
Yeah.
oh, a lot of just like shaking their heads no at me. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair. Um,
Totally. Yeah. When I lived in Spain, I had the same thing happen over and over and over. Um, and
uh-huh.
like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what does that mean? Like when we don't when we're not successful, does that mean we're not resilient, or does that mean we took a risk? And then we practice being vulnerable and we practice being like, yeah, that didn't work. Okay. What do I want to do next time?
I mean, I've truly, I think I utilized this with clients long before I utilized it with myself, but just that, like, we got to fail forward.
Mm,
Like, it's not about don't fail, and it's not about like do good. It's like, I mean, I hope we do good in the world, but like, it's really about like just keep failing forward. Like, every stumble, you are a little bit further ahead, you know?
yeah, yeah. One thing my teacher says that I always love, she's like, keep making mistakes, just don't make the same mistakes over and over and over. Make new mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Like you're never gonna not make mistakes. You're never gonna not mess up. But like, how do you just keep making new ones so you can like have different experiences?
Right. And I'm like, I don't know. I keep making the same mistakes over and over, but like, I, it's
Yeah,
doing all right. for me in this world. So
Yeah. I also make a lot of the same mistakes. I keep having to learn the same lessons over and over and
yeah,
over.
yeah. So maybe different mistakes, same lesson.
Uh-huh.
That feels very true.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd love to have you talk a little bit about like what you're excited around Joy Lab, our collaboration that's when is
Yeah,
it? I'm trying to remember the date. I think it's
28, September 28th.
September 28th, and it is from 12 to 5, and it's in person in Seattle. Um, what are you going to talk about, or what are you going to share, and what are you excited about? Bringing you joy about Joy Lab.
Yeah. Well, one of the funniest parts of this for me is that I'm like, part of my joy in Joy Lab is like that I feel like I'm a little bit of a plug and play, in terms of like you and Katie and Serena, like, you know, your lanes and you're like, okay, this is the thing. And I'm like, oh, I could do this and I could do this and I can do this and I can do that. And I'm like, I feel like it's so joyful and inspiring to me to be like, oh yeah, like I actually am super excitable and like excited about like going into microfascia or pain as pleasure or like I don't remember what the third one was. Oh, erotic energy. You know, like, and I'm just like, right, there's these like ways that I'm like, it all interconnects, right? Like our microfascial and pain as a choice and erotic energy actually all interconnect. So I'm like, I love the joy and excitement of we're creating something that is going to be so somatic and embodied, and that I get to bring myself and my skill set and a plan and a full allowance of emergence.
Mm.
And I feel so excited and joyful about that.
Yes, yes, I'm so here for it. I love it. Yeah, and I'll just also say that like it's just been such a joy like connecting with you and Katie and Serena, and like that has brought us so much joy. And so to just have other people join the mix and talk about joy from these different like nuanced ways. And yeah, as a mental health therapist and yoga therapist, like there's a lot that it's like it's a lot about like pain. It's a lot of my work is around emotional pain. And but like you said, like pain can be pleasure. That's not typically seen for a lot of folks. It can be seen for some folks do see that, or can experience that or embody that. But to like it's like the pause again. It's like that savoring moment of typically in every single day, there's a moment of just like, whoa. Even if it's like, I just finished work and I get to go home. Like we can pause in that 10 seconds and be like, I did my day. It doesn't have to be some like, I'm going to the ocean to watch whales. Like that's incredible. But like it can also be these mundane things that happen every day, all the time. And how do we weave that into eroticism and pain and fascia? Like, what? I'm super excited about it. But I would love to have you share a practice with us to wrap up our time together.
Uh, I would love to. I'm listening to what I'm called to, and yeah, let's play with fascia, pain, pleasure, joy. Let's play with that. So what I'm going to invite is if you have a tennis ball or lacrosse ball or yoga block, anything that you can just kind of give a little bit of body pressure with. I'm just going to use my chair because I
I have them
did
all. I'll grab
any
it.
of those things. And this chair is just really hard and uncomfortable. So I'm going to just use this chair. And I know for me today, I'm having hip flexor discomfort that is in my right leg. So I'm going to choose to play with a place in my body that I know I'm already experiencing pain. if you want to join in that, feel free. If you are like, my body feels great, I don't have any pain, beautiful. I love the temporarily able-bodiedness of all of that. And enjoy that. And so what I will invite you to do, and then anywhere along the spectrum, right? If you're like, I'm not playing with the pain that I know I'm experiencing, what we're going to do is we're going to just find a place on the body where we want to play with fascia. So fascia is the little tiny microfibers in our muscles. It's what connects our muscles and our bones. So the most common places that most of us are very aware of fascia is in the rib cage. So when you feel between two ribs, all those teeny tiny little fibers that you can feel in there. I'm just going with where I have screen available. Feel free to touch on any part of your body that feels right. For me, I know I get this massively under my left shoulder blade from a past car accident. So you can just kind of find a place. And if you're unsure, if you come down to the rib bone, that if you have breast tissue, it's going to be the rib bone right under your breast tissue. If you do not have breast tissue, it would be maybe about an inch below where a nipple would be. And you're going to find this little indent in your ribs. And that is a good place to play. This is actually an acupressure point that helps relieve anxiety and helps to tone and calm the vagus nerve. So you're welcome to actually just stay here and play with, if you give pressure right to that edge of pain. If you are not here and you're playing with a different place in your body, same prompt. Just pressure right to the edge of pain. Right to that place where your breath kind of hitches and wants to deepen. You're gonna just breathe through that moment. Deep, deep breath. You might find that you're called to do some type of rhythm, pressure, massage. What you're gonna do is you're gonna follow the pleasure that sits right at the edge of pain. For some of us, we might really dig in because at some point, pain may become pleasure. Most of us have that experience when we're getting a massage and a knot's getting rubbed, where it's like, oh, that's a good pain. That's that edge that we're playing with. And as you start to back out and remove pressure, and let your body take that little breath. Notice how your body feels different. You may be feeling some adrenaline, an up feeling, a little buzzy feeling. You may feel very calm, centered. Just notice how your body reacts. If there's any next motion you're called into. I have found that I have had a hand touching my leg, even though my other hand stayed up on my ribs. I did get very buzzy, so I am actually doing some deep pressure on my legs to bring me back into a little bit of a centered body to go back into client day. And I'm also very aware of time, so I will be respectful of time.
That was beautiful. It just brought me into, like, I felt my breath deepen after I released. And I also
Mhm.
felt just like so much stillness.
Mhm.
It's nice to feel that. I also felt different side to side. Just
Mhm.
like one side wanted more pressure, the other side wanted less pressure, then that changed. Like it's
Mhm.
like they were having conversations from side to side. Thank you so much. This was such a lovely conversation. So
Thank
I'll put the link for your website. I'll put the link for Joy Lab if you want to join us for a day of embodied retreat. And anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, if you're interested in joining the erotic practice, it is linked through my website. So click on that link and it's ANHELO on Hello. And it's by donation Wednesdays at noon Pacific time.
Awesome. That sounds like a great practice. I hope I can join.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.